Hi there, welcome back to this Veteran Can, and today I'm going to show you what I keep in my boot cleaning kit. Now if you hear any noises in the background, chances are it's the dogs. They tend to start getting more active whenever I'm doing this, so apologies for that. First thing, got an old towel. So I'm not as young as I used to be, so I'm not cleaning my boots or my shoes or my hands and knees anymore. I like to sit at the table and be as comfortable as I can. So I put the towel down on the table to stop the surface getting any mud, dirt, boot polish, you name it. I don't want to cause any more problems. So that's the first thing. You don't have to use an old towel, any old cloth will do. Something that's going to protect the table or surface that you're using. Next up, we've got shoe trees. Put these in the boots or the shoes when they're not being worn, just so they maintain their shape, and if the leather's been creased in any way, it sort of pushes those creases back out. So when we do apply the polishes, creams, rejuvenating creams, etc., we know those products are going to get right into the cracks, so the cracks, creases, anything that's formed. We're going to make sure that the whole shoe or boot gets that good clean. Like I say, it's going to help it maintain its shape, and if you've had a hot sweaty day and you've had hot sweaty feet, it's also going to help draw the moisture from the shoes or boots away from the leather. Hopefully that will then prolong the life of those items. Very important. If you don't have them, don't worry, you can always use old newspaper, just get it stuffed in there. It will do the same thing. Maybe not as cool looking, but it will still be effective. It's a little budget method. Okay, moving on from that, I have a couple of old dusters, maybe one I use for buffing, but this old duster I use for applying the creams and the polishes. Yes, you can use a brush to do it, and I do have brushes for that, but if I'm being really meticulous with the cleaning, then I'll use a cloth. Something else, I mentioned buffing, and you might have seen it in another video. Yes, you can use an old duster, you can buy sort of buffing pads, you can spend all sorts of money, but simple and effective old pair of sports socks, you know, the ankle socks, wrapped up, and then wrapped around that an old pair of tights. That will give your shoes and boots a good old shine at the end. Okay then. That noise is the leather chair, I promise you. It's not me, it could be my back. Next one, we have Saphir Renovateur. It's like a sort of neutral colour cream. To me, these all smell fantastic. What this will do, I'll get the lid back on. This will just help regenerate your shoes. You know, if they're drying out and just looking tired, clean all the mud and dirt and dust off first, and then rub some of this in. Let it soak into the leather, and your shoes will look fresher. They'll feel more supple, I find. It just prolongs the life. It's a really cool bit of kit. Again, if you don't want to spend, say, £15 on this, and this will last a long time, you can get, I said before, the Nivea, you know, the Nivea, the blue tub you can just put on your face and body. You can use that in a pinch. So another low budget saving there. So I've mainly got brown and black shoes. So the next items, I've got a black cream. again from Saphir, and a brown cream, dark brown. And my better half, she's got a lovely pair of dark brown shoes, and I use this for those as well. So after we've applied the Renovateur, we then apply the appropriate colour cream. You don't have to use this every time. Maybe once a month, if you want to be generous. Of course you can use it as often as you want, but once a month is more than enough. You can probably get away with twice a year and it'll still make a difference. Maybe once a week I'll add this. Again, it's just that lovely smell. This one's much thicker than the Renovateur. And yes, you can use brushes, but I find the good old-fashioned duster to be effective for applying it to the shoes. And the black is just the same. So, of course, you can get them for pretty much any colour leather shoes you've got. So try and get the closest colour match you can. Putting a lighter one on a darker shoe probably won't do that much to change the colour, but a darker cream on a lighter shoe, chances are you're going to start changing the colour of that shoe. Unless that's what you want to do, then go for it. But this will just add some more sort of oils into the shoe, help sort of regenerate it, and it'll add that little bit of colour as well. And you can leave it there, give it a good old brush off or a buff, the old trusty buffer, and your shoes will look fantastic. But if you want to take it to the next level, then on comes the old traditional boot polish. So again, I've got black and like a really dark brown. Helpfully says dark brown. Now with this one, it's a fairly new one. It smells divine. But I've only used the cloth to apply the polish, and with it you only need like a thin layer. This will help to waterproof your shoe, and you can use it to get just that extra shine. If you want to get a military style like mirror shine, you can use these polishes. You can get an even fancier one from Saphir to create the mirror shine. I forget what it's called. It's probably called something like mirror shine or mirror gloss or something like that. You don't need that. You don't. You can just normal shoe polish. Oh my God, if you still got, and you still remember the old Kiwi shoe polish, if you use that, you'll still be able to do it. It might take you a little bit longer, but you'll be able to get that mirror shine. Now, I do have another shoe polish. This is like a Billy Basic shoe polish from Timpson. So Saphir, imagine like the gold plated standard. This will cost you a fair few pounds. Billy Basic one from Timpson, a couple of quid. There you go. Doesn't smell anywhere near as nice, nowhere near as luxurious. This one, you can probably see I've been using a brush to apply it on. I've got an old pair of tan coloured boots that I love, and I really think I should start using some of these other products. I'll get the tan version of this cream and some really nice shoe polish. I should use it on. They're £40 pair of boots, which it doesn't matter what time of my life. £40 is still £40, and I should take better care of them. However, in the meantime, I've just been doing real basic shoe cleaning with them, or boot cleaning with them. So brushing off the dirt, using a little brush to apply this, let it soak in, good old brush off, and away we go. That's about as basic as shoe cleaning gets. And this really, it does work. It's done a fantastic job over the years. So I'm going to keep going with it until I use it up. Moving on then, we've got this. This is a Sapphire Sole Guard. So if you've got leather soles on your shoes, unfortunately I don't have my leather soled shoes to show you because they've gone back to Cheney and Sons to get softened, because my feet are quite precious and dainty, it turns out. So wearing boots are fine. Well, I've not worn shoes for, I'll say, the last 18 months or so, and mainly been wearing flip-flops. Those shoes cut my feet to ribbons, so they've gone back to Cheney, and there's a separate video about that. However, with leather soles, you want to keep the leather soles in just as good condition, and this oil, apply it to give the soles a clean, apply some leather oil, and it will just help protect the sole. Yes, it's going to wear through, but it just prolongs the life. And if you look after your kit will look after you. Especially, even as I said about the £40 boots, we can still get years of life out of these if we take good care of them. So we want to make things last as long as possible rather than it going to landfill. Now onto the good stuff, the brushes. Simple brushes first. So with my boots that are in tan, I've got the brush. So I dig into the polish, give it a scrub all over. I'll only use this brush with the tan boots. This is where I start getting a bit anal with it all. This brush is for tan boots only, for applying the polish. This brush mainly been used with the tan boots, but also used at the brown boots. This is for removing any mud, if I've got them muddy, any dust, any sort of debris on the shoe before I even start cleaning. I'll go over with my brown and my tan boots. I'll use this brush, and then once I've done the cream, once it's soaked in, I'll give it a good vigorous polish with this brush. And the same again after I've added the shoe polish. Once it's had time to settle in, give it a good vigorous going over with this. I find the harder you do it, the more friction you build up, the more heat's generated, and I like to think the product sort of soaks into the leather that bit better. I could be talking a load of old rubbish here, but that's what I find, and that keeps me happy. These two brushes, these got passed down to me from my father. I'm 47 in October this year. He had these, I dread to think how many years he's had these before he even gave them to me. So yeah, I don't even know what the bristles are made of. They're horsehair or nylon. You can spend good money on horsehair brushes, that's what's recommended, but whatever brushes you got, use what you've got and look after them, and they'll last a very long time. Now onto the big guns. I'm telling you, that is the leather seat. I need to do something about that. Then we've got the on brush for black polish for my black shoes and boots. Don't use it these days really. This was for my army boots, and yeah, a lot of nostalgia for me. Again, before I started basic training back in October 1998, my father gave me these two brushes, on brush, off brush. Same sort of process as I mentioned with the tan shoes. Don't get the black ones mixed up with the brown ones. Getting the brown ones mixed up with the brown off brush on black boots not really going to cause many issues. Black off brush on brown boots, especially tan boots, then you might start seeing some noticeable colour transfer over time. So separate brushes for separate boots or shoes. I find that the best way. And again, I have no idea. My father's not alive anymore, so I can't ask him. I've got no idea how long he had these brushes before he passed them on to me. But again, before I was born. And for some reason, I've got one random other brush. Maybe if I wear the bristles in this down to nothing, then I can switch fire to this one as another off brush. And that's pretty much it. Old shoebox to store it all in. So when it comes to cleaning your shoes and boots, it can be as in-depth or as simple as you like. I mean, 3 items for simple, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, shoe tree, 9 items for in-depth. Either way, look after your kit and your kit will look after you.